The story begins with a hippo named Hypothesis who lived in a safe and magical place called Hippo Bay. In Hippo Bay, Hypothesis was surrounded by lots of love and happiness and was greatly cared for by his friends and family. In Hippo Bay, there are many animals that live together in harmony. There are dancing penguins, singing flowers, and cheerful mice. One day, while exploring, Hypothesis wandered off to the edge of Hippo Bay near the Forbidden Well. Hypothesis had been warned never to touch. Ancient legends told of how the well possessed magical powers. While playing near the well, Hypothesis heard a distinctive sound. "Is that a baby crying?" Hypothesis thought. Cautiously, Hypothesis walked over toward the well and peeked inside. There were swirls of color in the well and light emanating from it. Indeed, the crying seemed to be coming from the well itself. As Hypothesis stared into the magical water, he felt his eyes slowly closing like he was being cast under a spell. Hypothesis awoke with a start. "Did I fall asleep?" Hypothesis thought as he got up and looked around. Everything looked the same. There was a well, and there were the beautiful skies of Hippo Bay. "I wonder how long I have been sleeping," Hypothesis thought. "I hope Mama isn't worried about me." As Hypothesis began to make his way back toward his family's pond, he noticed that something in the air felt a little different. There were no birds happily singing in the sky. No horse herds galloping freely around the green meadows. No fishes joyfully splashing along the river. In fact, there was no one around. "This is so strange," Hypothesis thought as he followed the path toward the mystic forest. As Hypothesis continued to walk down the dirt path, he felt like he was being watched. He looked around and saw no one. He could hear nothing but the sound of his own footsteps. Suddenly, a monkey swung past him. "Hello there," Hypothesis called out. Instead of saying hello, the monkey glared at Hypothesis and bared his teeth at him. "Do you know where everyone went?" asked Hypothesis. In response, the monkey only let out a loud and angry screech and swung away. Strange, Hypothesis thought. Maybe the monkey had a bad day. As Hypothesis continued down the forest, he came across a snake slithering along a tree. "You shouldn't be here. You don't belong here," the snake hissed. "What do you mean?" Hypothesis asked. "He will come and find you," said the snake. "Who's he?" asked Hypothesis, but it was too late. The snake had already slithered back into the shadows of the forest. As Hypothesis continued to walk down the path toward home, he suddenly realized that the trees around him were not familiar. "Did I take a wrong turn?" Hypothesis thought aloud. Soon the sun began to set, and up ahead birds scattered from the trees overhead. Next to him the bushes shook and Hypothesis could hear the sound of snickering but saw no animals. Hypothesis began to feel unease and picked up his walking pace. Soon after a hawk flew toward Hypothesis and landed on a tree bark. "Who are you and what do you think you are doing here?" leered the hawk, who looked down at Hypothesis with big, leering eyes. "My name is Hypothesis," responded Hypothesis, "and I am on my way home." "There is no home here for you. You do not belong here," screeched the hawk. "You are a trespasser," replied the hawk. "Trespasser! Trespasser! Trespasser!" cried the other animals of the forest. Suddenly the ground began to shake, and the sound of howling filled the air. A herd of lions running toward Hypothesis, baring their fangs. Hypothesis' heart pounded with fear as he began to run. What is going on? Thought Hypothesis. Get him! Cried the lion pack. Hypothesis ran and ran and ran. Before him he saw an opening in the forest. I'm home, thought Hypothesis, but it was an illusion. As Hypothesis neared the edge of the forest, he had to screech to a stop, for the path ended and before was a broken bridge. He had nowhere to run to. What do I do now? Thought Hypothesis as he turned around slowly to face the herd of lions. The leader of the lion pack now stepped forward. What are you doing in the forest of Anova, king of Ampelia? Ampelia, responded Hypothesis. This is Hippo Bay. No, replied the lion. This is Ampelia, and you are a trespasser. King Anova does not like trespassers. You will be punished. Punished, snickered the rest of the lion pack as they completely surrounded Hypothesis. Hypothesis had no choice but to follow the lion pack as they led him deeper and deeper back into the forest. After a long time of walking, Hypothesis could see a glowing light up ahead. The trees parted way, and Hypothesis could see a beautiful waterfall. We bring to you a trespasser, King Anova, said the later lion. Before Hypothesis, a gorilla stepped out from behind the trees. You have trespassed my land, King Anova said. I didn't mean to, said Hypothesis. I thought this was Hippo Bay. This is not Hippo Bay. This is Ampelia, said King Anova. Because you trespassed into my land, you will have to pay. Let's put a dunce cap on him, said R.A. Fisher the raccoon, as he threw the cap onto Hypothesis' head. Let's make him entertain us with a stupid dance, said Frank Yates the boar, as he threw pebbles at Hypothesis' feet to make him dance around in a circle. Or chase him around till his little feet give way, said Kristen Smith's black bear, as she let out a mighty roar and bared her teeth. Hypothesis was very sad. He missed Hippo Bay, and he didn't like to be bullied. It made him feel inferior and little. Let's make him pick up after our banana peels, cried Catherine Hewitt, the monkey, as she threw her banana peel at Hypothesis, hitting him right between the eyes. Oh, let's make him eat bugs, said David Cox, the frog. Hypothesis couldn't take the bullying no more. Tears welled up in his eyes as he ran away from all of the laughter. Hypothesis ran and ran and ran deep into the forest until he was surrounded by darkness. Hypothesis awoke with a start. Where am I? He wondered. He looked around and saw the magical well next to him. Was I dreaming? Hypothesis got up and shook his head. I hope I'm not still in Ampelia. I don't want to be bullied anymore, thought Hypothesis as he ran off toward the path in the forest that led to home. This time the forest was filled with happy, chirping birds and other animals out enjoying the day. Rather than stop to say hi, Hypothesis continued to run. He was afraid that he might waken from another dream and find that he wasn't back in Hippoland. As he neared the end of the forest and into the meadow where his family's grazing land was, he spotted his family. "Mama!" cried Hypothesis. "Hypothesis!" Mama said. "Where have you been? It's almost napping time. I was getting worried." "Oh, Mama, I had the weirdest dream," cried Hypothesis. "I'm listening," said Mama. Hypothesis began to tell Mama what had happened back in Ampelia. When he finished telling his story, Hypothesis wondered why the animals in Ampelia had been so mean. "Why are some people so mean?" asked Hypothesis. "I didn't mean to trespass into his land." "Well, Hypothesis, some people are just a little weird." "What do you mean by weird, Mama?" "Well, Hypothesis, There are weird animals and there are normal animals. Try to imagine a curve where all the animals of Hippoland are on. Straight down the middle of the curve are the animals who are normal. These are the animals that are happy and love everyone else. The two extremes on either side of the curve, where the curve begins to saturate, represents the weird animals. These are the animals that live in King Anova's Apulia. They are different than the animals in Hippo Bay because they are not happy and loving. Did I accidentally wander off of Hippoland in my dream, Mama? It is possible, hypothesized. The whale has magical powers. He should be happy that you aren't stuck on the weird side of the curve anymore. I don't ever want to leave Hippo Bay again, replied Hypothesis, as he let out a yawn and curled up next to his mom to get some more sleep. This time to dream of happy dreams.